Alright, so this is going to be my first video, and it's going to be geared towards those who have been in care, have any sort of mental disability, which could be FAS, ADHD, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. Did I say PTSD? Yeah, that's on there too. Anybody that feels alone, anybody who has or is being abused. I will be posting videos. I'm not saying that I'm a counselor. I'm not saying that I know everything about these sort of disorders, but I do want to put out there that you're not alone, and I want you who watch the videos to be part of this community. Use the aliases, I don't care. Just I'm thinking of all those girls and all those guys out there who think that they're alone and they can't talk to anybody about it. You talk to a therapist, and like everybody knows you have a therapist now, and it's embarrassing and it's scary because I know a lot of you who are probably like me who try to put on this mask of being normal, of working your butt off in school and in your job, and it's just so that you can be perceived as someone without any issues, and that is not the best way. I mean, it does work for some. It got me by for so long, but at one point you just break. You don't even know who you really are anymore, and it frustrates you and the people around you, and you get moody and you get upset. So I guess I can start off and tell you little snippets of I'm not going to give you all of it. It's just going to be extremely point form, and if you guys have any questions about what happened, I will be most happy to be able to do a video answering those questions. I was born in Winnipeg. I had a mom and a dad, and my dad left when I was 2 for reasons we're not quite sure. I've heard so many different stories about why he's arrested or why he had to flee to Ontario. So it's really confusing about that, and a question of is he even my real dad? So that is that. My mom met my stepdad, and I've always known him to be my stepdad until I was 12. I was molested when I was 9, and I came out and I told my family that I was. Turned out it was my stepdad's dad, and I found out through my cousins that he's been doing it to a lot of other girls, and so I'm rambling. Anyways, I told my dad, my stepdad and my mom, and they said, okay, we won't let him ever babysit you again. And I figured that would be it. Like, I was 9. What are you supposed to think about what should happen when you're molested by a family member? Find out years later that no one actually believed me, because I was wondering, why would they leave me alone in the car with him? Why would they bring him over, invite him over for dinner? Like, I'd hide in my room because I was so scared. Maybe they thought that I was scared that he was upset that I was lying or something. I don't know. He never confronted me on it. He was just there staring at me, because he did, of course he would say, like, don't tell anybody, like, I'm just trying to help you feel better, and you're a sick guy. But then, yeah, so we'll cut that. Moving on. So then when I was 12, I found out that my stepdad wasn't my real dad, and everything came about that it made sense, like, why I was molested and not my little sister, because my half sister is my stepdad's daughter. Then other truths came out as to, like, where is my dad, what happened to me, and what happened to my other sister who died. Apparently she was smothered in bed with my parents, so she died because of them. They told me that it was just sudden infant death. A lot of abuse happened. My grandfather, who molested me, died of brain cancer, and I'm gonna be honest, I was happy, and I think no one else liked that. So a lot of abuse, emotional and verbal abuse happened upon me. Another video of actually what happened will probably come out, because I know, like, me putting my life on YouTube is not the best thing, but how else are people going to understand if you can't relate to them? And I will. I tried making a video of my autobiography and it went to like an hour and a half, so I can't put that on YouTube. I was 14, and then I tried running away, and I got caught, and CFS was involved, and Mobile Crisis was involved, and my parents basically tricked them into all thinking that it's just in my head, that all the abuse does not exist, there's nothing wrong with me. They brainwashed my sister to do the same thing. Then my case was closed for 2 years. So when I was and then I was 14, my parents forced me into therapy because they overheard my friends calling me Funny Bunny or Amanda, because for me to be able to cope with my living situation was to be two different people. It was Funny Bunny at school, hyper, erratic, crazy, wow, dancing on the tables, screaming I love pie outside the door, yelling I love unicorn drugs and rainbows are awesome, and just letting my ADHD just take over, just see ya, nothing, don't care. And then when I get home, I would have friends that came over, and they would see a dramatic change. I never knew this, my friends did. They said they called me at school Funny Bunny, and I just decided to call when I was at home Amanda. And because of all the abuse and the verbal abuse, that it wasn't that when my step grandfather died that the abuse really started. It started for a very long time. It just got worse. It just got to the point where I started to realize that this wasn't how a family should behave. I guess that's just how my mom is learning disabled, and my stepdad has to live with that. I think my stepdad's amazing. It's hard for me to say anything bad about him because he tried his best to be on our side, but how can you when your wife is psycho? Oh well. So, where am I? I don't know. I cut a lot, and everyone thought I was suicidal. But it wasn't. It was just because I felt like I needed to do it. I felt like I was brainwashed into thinking that I was crazy and that I did everything wrong, to the point where I believed it for a while. I actually believed that I was this horrible person, and then I'd get reminded by a wonderful man, Mr. White, that I wasn't a horrible person, and that none of this deserved to be on me. And my therapist also said none of this deserves to be on you either. So that's how that happened. Then I was 16, and I was abused for 2 more years, but not physically, because they knew I'd tell CFS again. And then when I was 16, I attempted suicide, and then my school found out, and they called CFS instantly, and they were there in an hour. And I know I was a weird face bitch. They were there in an hour, and I told them I'm never going back home. You can't make me. I'm not going to have the same thing happen to me 2 years ago. And so I just took off, and I never went home. And I've never been home since. I am 21 years old now, and I was in care at CFS. I was actually in a shelter for 3 days, and I stayed at a friend's house for a week. I had to hide from everybody, make sure the cops couldn't find me, because legally I'd have to do something about it. Then I went into my foster home, which was the most amazing place for a very long time, until issues, when people get to know me, it's kind of hard to absolutely accept me, I'm gonna go with. It was, I never did anything on purpose to have friction, but it just happened. We were like two different people. Like, their family grew up in a very nice area, and my family grew up in a very crappy area. And so there was a lot of thinking that I could be like people who grew up in a good area when there wasn't, and I was very forgetful, and I was very, I guess you could say, ungrateful. You don't really, you don't really, you don't really you're not really thankful for the things that you have until you actually don't have them anymore. So when I went into independent living, halfway through grade 12, my promise, it was to finish grade 12 no matter what. I'm going to finish grade 12, and I did. And then right after that, I went into college. I took addictions community service. Do not go to Cedar Area College. They told me it was addictions counseling. I asked them, so this is what counseling, right? And they said, yes, absolutely. But in the fine print of the form of the contract, it says community service. You don't actually get a counseling diploma or degree. You only get community service diploma. And you have to work 2,000 hours as an apprentice counselor to become a counselor. And there's not a lot of jobs that will actually take you as an apprentice counselor. And besides that, I realized I never would have wanted to work with adults ever. I'd rather work with youth with addiction or youth with crisis than to work with an adult who has caused crises. Because that's, in my head, I was just like, I wouldn't be able to hear someone tell me about how they used to beat their kids or take their money or rape them or I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd rather help a kid to be able to grow up to be a better person. And you know what? It's not because I think those people are bad people now. It's just I know in my heart that I would be not okay to do that job. And like everyone says, not all jobs are for everybody, and I know that my calling is with you guys. I'm hoping that this is what my calling is to be able to talk to people about my life and be able to be like, hey, that happened to me. Tell me more about what happened to you. Or let me tell you what happened to me and what are your thoughts on it. That's why I'm doing these videos. So that you guys don't feel alone anymore. And that, even if you are abused right now, like you're scared that your parents are going to walk into this room and see you watching this video and be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You're not supposed to be watching this. Why are you watching this? You think your life is so bad? I've been there. I have been there. I have been in situations where no one believes you. My molestation, no one believed me for a very long time until he died and they found out. I remember I was in his house and he had portraits of what looked to be paintings of little girls naked, and they also found out he used to steal everyone's jewelry. Like he'd break and enter into people's houses and steal their stuff. And my mom later on would be like, he was a horrible man, he was just so awful to us. I'm thinking, well, duh, I was molested by him and none of you believe me, but now that it's happening to you and now you have to make it seem like you're the victim. I don't like it when people victimize themselves. In fact, all of you guys can stop calling yourself victims. You guys are survivors. The reason why you are alive today, the reason why you're even taking the time to watch these videos is because you guys are survivors, and you will survive, and you will succeed, and you will do better with your life. And that's what I want to get across, and that's why I want to have this fucked up nation, is because all of us fucked up people, well, I'm sure people are going to watch this, you're not fucked up, you're great. Trust me, once you get to know me and you're in a closed room with me, you start to realize how messed up you are. In fact, the only person I've ever been able to be okay living with, and him be okay with me living with, and love every single inch of my personality, is my fiance. He is absolutely, and he's normal, not even fucked up at all, got nothing. Oh well. So don't worry, for you girls and you guys, you'll find somebody that understands how fucked up you are and will be able to bring the best of you out. I have learned not to be so much of a Funny Bunny or Amanda, but more to be a Christine, and trying, what am I, Buddha? No. I'm trying to learn how to be just yourself without having to delve so much into being depressed or being erratic and happy. And I've met a few girls who do this, and you can't deny that some of you don't do this. You guys all pretend that you guys are normal, and those of you who don't pretend that you're normal, that's okay too, man. That's totally fine. If you want someone to know that you're not okay, this is what this is for. Let me know that you're not okay. Let me answer your questions of how to get better, and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to end this video with that, and I know it probably made no sense, but after I get a lot of feedback from you guys, hopefully I can make better videos. Alright, thank you.